So what if I told you that pretty much any idea could be communicated in just 3 sentences? Today, we're diving into a really powerful, kind of counterintuitive writing philosophy from a Japanese game developer named Aoki. It's a whole system he built for maximum clarity, and it all kicks off with one simple rule that could honestly change how you communicate forever.
Okay, first things first, just look at this slide. On the left, you've got a line from the English version of Dragon Quest, and on the right, that's Aoki's rewrite. Go ahead and read them both. Which one hits harder? Which one feels more direct, more memorable, more like how a person would actually talk? Just hang on to that feeling, because it's the key to this whole thing.
You see, that first example really gets to the heart of the problem. A lot of the time, we try to sound all formal or smart, right? We use these big phrases like, according to ancient documents. But in the process, we're just adding fluff. We add more words, but we actually lose meaning and impact. That's the dialogue problem right there. The constant battle between just using words and actually saying something. So how do we fix it? Well, Aki's solution is deceptively simple. It's a philosophy he came up with while making his own role-playing games, a way to make sure every single piece of information was just crystal clear. And he calls it the 3-sentence rule. And here it is. This is the central idea. English can be communicated in 3 sentences. And look, he doesn't mean just some ideas or only the simple ones. According to Aoki, literally any concept, whether it's a request, a warning, a complex explanation, you name it, can be boiled down to this essential 3-part structure. Now, I know what you might be thinking. The immediate reaction for a lot of people is, come on, that's way too simple. That's just for beginners, right? But Aoki argues that this is a huge misunderstanding. Thinking that so-called simple English is easy or weak, well, that's missing the point entirely. In fact, what most of us think of as middle school English actually covers about 90% of all the grammar you'll ever really need. So the goal isn't to learn more and more complex, obscure rules. The goal is to achieve total mastery over the fundamental building blocks of the language. This isn't a limitation. It's your foundation. All right, so let's see how this whole philosophy turns into a practical system. Aoki developed these things he calls NPC patterns. Now, if you've ever played an RPG, you know that NPCs, the non-player characters, they have to get information across quickly and effectively. And these patterns, they're the blueprints for doing just that. So what are they exactly? Well, an NPC pattern is just a reusable 3-part structure. It's a template. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time you need to say something common. You just pick the right pattern for the job and fill in the details. They're just tools for efficiency and for clarity.
Here's a perfect example, the request pattern. The structure is so logical, it's beautiful. 1. State the problem. 2. Make a direct request. 3. Explain what happens next, usually a reward. The example, I dropped my necklace. Can you bring it back? I'll reward you. It follows this perfectly. It's clear, it's concise, and it's complete. Done.
And here's where it gets really powerful. Check out how that same 3-part logic works for a totally different situation. This is the warning pattern. 1. Acknowledge the situation. 2. Give direct advice. 3. Give a simple reason why. Going to the southern cave? Take a lantern. Caves are very dark. See? No wasted words. It's just pure function.
This is just brilliant. Look how versatile it is, even for something like persuasion. The sales pattern. 1. Present the product. 2. Explain what it does. 3. State the cost. Would you like to buy some holy water? This water can ward off monsters. 1 bottle is only 20 gold. It's a perfect little pitch, all built on that same solid 3-sentence foundation.
But Aoki's philosophy goes way deeper than just how you structure dialogue. He argues that we should see grammar itself not as this rigid set of rules we have to memorize, but as another collection of powerful, reusable patterns. These are like the secret weapons for making your writing way more dynamic. He identifies dozens of these grammatical patterns, which are called kobun in Japanese. And really, you should think of them just like tools in a toolbox. You've got patterns for using unliving subjects, a pattern for emphasis, one for inversion. Each one is a specific tool you can pull out to create a really precise effect in your writing. So let's look at one. It's called the unliving subject pattern. This is where you make an inanimate object or a concept the subject, the hero of the sentence. So instead of saying, we couldn't go out because of the heavy rain, this pattern flips it so it sounds more like, the heavy rain prevented us from going out. It's a subtle shift, I know, but it is so powerful.
The wind closed the door is way more active and evocative than saying something clunky like, the door was closed by the wind. The wind or the rain becomes this active agent in the story. It's a simple little pattern that just instantly makes your writing more vivid.
Okay, here's another incredibly useful one, the emphasis pattern. This structure, it is that or it was that, it's designed to do one thing and one thing only. Put a giant spotlight on the most important piece of information in your sentence. It's basically you telling the reader, hey, pay attention to this part.
So instead of a kind of flat statement like, the elder knows how the legendary sword was made, this pattern lets you direct the audience's focus. It is the elder that knows. You see? The sentence immediately signals who's the important one here. It's a grammatical tool for directing focus, just like a spotlight on a stage.
And really, that brings us right back to the core lesson here. Whether we're talking about a simple 3-sentence dialogue pattern for a video game character or a sophisticated grammatical structure, the principle is exactly the same. True mastery in communication doesn't come from learning more and more complex stuff. It comes from deeply, deeply understanding the fundamental patterns and knowing exactly when and how to use them.
So that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. This whole pattern-best approach, it's not just for writing game dialogue. I mean, think about it, for your emails, for giving presentations, or even just for structuring your own thoughts. So the real question is, where in your work or in your life can mastering just a few simple patterns create the most powerful results?